Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Scotty.
And Father Dufresne. How are you today?
I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm so much better after what just transpired.
Oh, really?
Are you?
Just
hold
brought
on to
so
your
much
sock
joy
there
and
then,
delight
man.
into my life.
Are you related to anyone that has a payment processing business?
Not that I'm aware of.
No. Okay. There was I saw like a Dufresne.
Oh, I thought you had some like bad pun or joke coming here.
No,
I was like watching a slow motion car accident. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be bad.
No, I was just wondering. I was like,
Wow.
I wonder if Father Dufresne is related to this company that's doing payment processing.
I could be.
I remember it was like an Indianapolis based. I can't remember what it was for, but
Are
Really?
you related to anyone with a handyman service?
Yes.
I know you've told us that.
Okay.
Your
I
brother,
was-
right?
My dad
Oh.
and my brother's kind of getting into
Yeah.
the business a little
Right.
bit. But,
what's it called?
Mike's Handyman Services.
Love that.
Is your brother named Mike?
No, my dad is. Yeah.
Oh, so he can't take over the business,
I mean,
or he can, but he's just got to tell everybody.
it might be
Oh,
his.
I mean,
It might be his confirmation name. I don't remember. So
St. Michael's handyman business.
Hmm.
I like it.
Can't think of a tagline for it quite yet.
Similar.
and just
Defend us in leaks, and I don't know.
yeah.
Defend us in carpentry. That'd be great.
He's in Dayton, Ohio. So if listeners are in Indianapolis, then
Going all we'll make road
Yeah.
trips. Yeah.
All right.
he's going to be so mad.
Okay, the 10 of you don't call.
Yeah. All right. Shall we? 2-minute drill.
2-minute drill. We're not going to do an ad.
I said I don't have one. If you've got
Yeah.
one, we can go.
Well, I did just want to share. We talk a lot about Catholic concepts around here
Oh yeah.
and sacrilegious and stuff, but I did want to share because we do have wonderful listeners and they're loyal listeners. Many of them, the priests who are on the podcast, and then others as well. But another brand, this is not a fake ad, everybody. Hold on. This is not
Or
Catholic Cheerios. It's not. But 4marksprinting.com is another brand of Catholic concepts. We do custom printing and design work and t-shirts and anything. So we would, if you like your podcast here, if this is your favorite podcast, that's awesome. Even if we're not, which is more likely,
if it's in your top 30.
if it's in your top 30 that you listen to on a weekly basis, if you could just share with people, 4marksprinting.com, custom printing for your parishes, any Catholic group, organizations, family trips, whatever it is, we'd love that. Trying to get the word out there.
Yeah.
We're doing really awesome stuff to make ministry and evangelization just super easy in the Catholic Church. So check us out.
A lot of you are probably asking, well, what's different about what you guys do and what the print shop that I've been using for the last 10 years does? And the answer is probably nothing on the print shop side, other than we do it better and we understand where you're coming from and we get it. And we love you and we care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, we're a Catholic family-owned business.
Yeah.
And I do think one thing that's unique versus a lot of shops is it's all covered. We're gonna design stuff for you. We can help you with that. We're gonna take care of delivery, everything. You get one price, and that's everything.
Yep.
Like we're not gonna nickel and dime you and pick you apart on fees. So
We do it right here, right
Yep.
upstairs.
yeah, you can hear it probably sometimes during the podcast. So anyway, check us out. We appreciate it.
4marksprinting.com.
All right. Look, that was like a real ad.
Is that the first real ad?
Yeah,
I'm honored.
I guess. I mean, we talk about what we're doing all the time. And
Yeah.
that wasn't really even an ad.
We talk about being in the mothership here.
Are there people that listen to 30 podcasts?
I was just
that a
trying to
thing?
make everybody be this.
We're
be
trying to
like-
qualify every listener.
Okay.
If somebody listens to 30, I'm impressed.
They might need help.
Yeah.
I want to meet the person who we're number 31 on their list.
I
If
do-
you're still listening and we're the 31st best podcast you listened to this week, I have got to meet you. I got
27 are long form podcasts.
Maybe start praying the rosary or
It's been
something.
97.
maybe start. That's one of them.
Did I
Yeah,
tell you
love
my
the
mom's a listener?
No,
Yeah.
Mrs. Dufresne.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. She
The
revealed
matriarch of Mike's handyman services.
she revealed this to me. And And it was so sweet the way that she said it. She was like, I love listening to your episodes. I listen to them whenever I can't fall asleep.
Oh,
That's great.
And she thinks you guys are hilarious. So
She's smart. She's
Yeah.
a very smart lady. I'm sure beautiful and just amazing. I'm sure she's good at everything she does. That sounds like she's top notch.
she's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Does she not listen to anybody else's episodes? Just yours when she's tired? Or does
I think she
to
listens
the other
particular
ones
to mine when she can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
But she listens to the other ones.
when she wants to be engaged?
Yeah.
Listen. She's been to enough of your masses to know that your homilies will put her to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Dufresne, thanks for being a listener. You're our new listener of the episode. You won the award. You get a star.
Love you, Mom.
5 points.
We love you too. All right. Feast of the Transfiguration. Now that we're into the 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
It is the Feast of the Transfiguration of the Lord. Our first reading comes from Daniel. This is very much has these vibes of like, all right, close your eyes.
Okay.
Just imagine this vision Daniel has of this ancient king who takes his throne and rules over all, and the courts all bow down to him and everything is laid out before him. And then you continue to have this vision. You continue to think about this because all of a sudden you learn that the Son of Man is coming. He's coming down from the clouds of heaven. His dominion will be everlasting. Father still has his eyes closed. His kingship shall not be destroyed. So we have this king on earth and then this king from heaven, this vision from Daniel. I just think that was probably a pretty exciting time when he was like explaining this to people and telling them about it. I can imagine him being really hyped about it.
So hype.
Our responsorial psalm this week is, wait, if your mom listens while she's going to sleep, should we talk quieter? You think we should?
You do you.
Okay. The Lord is king, the most high over all the earth. Now you're which ties again, ironically ties in really good with that reading from Daniel. And then we have a reading from 2 Peter.
Why is it ironic?
Oh, because the Lord is king. Most
It's
high over all the
identifying-
earth, like talking about
Sorry. It's the 2-minute drill. I don't talk yet.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's talking about like the kingdom and this vision of the king, and then that from the heavens he came down over all the earth.
It's like 10,000 spoons, and all you need is a knife.
That's not ironic though. That's just bad luck. Anyway, our second reading comes from the second letter.
Edit that out so it's a
From
royalty
2 Peter. Yeah, that's good. I don't think anyone's going to mistake what you just did as something that is owed royalties.
Shania Twain.
So comes from 2 Peter. And we hear Peter talking here about like, we don't need to come up with, I don't need to come up with these fake stories. I don't need to pretend like I saw something. I don't need to like make something up because I was an eyewitness to this. We saw this. We heard the Lord's voice say, "This is my son, my beloved, with whom I am well pleased." Like we heard this voice ourselves. And because we have the prophetic message that told us this would happen, and then we heard this, it is clear that this is our Savior and that this is where our attention should be. And then we have our gospel reading. Gospel is Matthew chapter 17, 1-9. Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, "Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them, and from the cloud came a voice that said, "This is my beloved son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate, and they were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Rise and do not be afraid." And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, "Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead."
All right. Did Jeff get anything wrong, Father?
Not that I heard.
Oh, good.
I think you did great.
Were you listening?
I was listening.
Okay.
I had my eyes
That's all-
closed and
that's all-
everything.
That's
There's
our
that
new
qualifier.
follow-up question.
Yeah.
Jeff, get anything wrong? No. Did you pay any attention to what Jeff said? No.
I was following along right here with the readings.
At the USCCB.org.
Yes.
.org.
The Crane Company.
The link
Great
that
work.
was helpfully sent to me. So I prepared the correct readings.
Good times. Where's your notebook? You usually have a notebook.
Yeah, I
Are you in iPhone world now and you no longer need a notebook?
No, I didn't. I was so excited about these readings that I didn't need a notebook.
All right.
Keep
I was gonna
track of
say-
what I wanted to say.
I would imagine when we get into these high feasts, like the Transfiguration, like even you, how many years have you been ordained?
5.
5 years.
Yeah.
But this will be your 5th Transfiguration homily versus
Got a
when
couple
we
in
get
your
into the
pocket.
cycles. Yeah. So,
This is what you got to call a pocket homily.
oh,
Well, the Transfiguration is also just one of my favorite feasts of the year.
really?
And the best part, like getting to celebrate it, because a lot of times the Transfiguration happens like in the middle of the week
Mhm.
and like nobody notices, right?
So this
Yeah.
is one of those feast days where it trumps the Sunday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
If it falls on a Sunday,
if it falls on a Sunday,
because it's a solemnity.
Right. It wouldn't trump the Sunday if it's not on Sunday.
Yes.
correct. The yeah, so this is a feast that takes the place of the Sunday celebration of that Sunday of ordinary time. And it's so cool to get to celebrate this and preach this with the whole parish present on a Sunday, as opposed to
Mm.
like a handful of people at daily mass or something like that.
Mhm.
So I'm super excited.
But this will be
Um,
your first time doing that.
Yeah,
It's not falling on a Sunday.
I don't think it's fallen on a
Well, that's
Sunday.
this is, I'm excited for
Last
you.
time it fell on a Sunday, I was a transitional deacon, actually. I remember
Did
Did you preach?
I did not preach.
Uh,
Monsignor Mark Schwarzkopf preached.
Oh, I bet that was a banger.
So
though.
it
I
was.
love Monsignor Schwarzkopf's homilies.
So I got to, it was my last Sunday when I was a deacon at Our Lady of the Greenwood. Now I'm getting all nostalgic.
Oh.
That was a great summer. So what am I going to preach? Good question. I've been thinking a lot about mountains.
Mm.
So recently I got to go to Colorado for a few days to visit with some friends.
Nice.
And
what part?
we were in Denver.
Okay.
And then we did some hiking like up around Golden.
Nice.
Beautiful area, Golden.
Absolutely beautiful. Like we hiked up around, I guess it's called Red Rocks.
Yes,
Jeff went to a
so-
concert there.
I did. You went to Red Rock. You say, I guess it's called Red Rocks. It's like one of the most famous music venues in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see the concert area there?
I
Or did
was
you just-
going there to hike.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good hikes too.
So we
Oh,
hiked.
beautiful rock formations.
Well, I walk occasionally and like do Indiana hiking, right? Where you
Mhm.
like go in a place where they have
Mhm.
woods and there's a little bit of a hill or something. But, we did a 3-mile hike at Red Rocks and there was a lot of going uphill. And 3 miles, like on flat ground, takes me like less than an hour.
Yeah.
But it took us an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And I was tired.
Yeah.
Like at one point we were,
Turns out
I was
the
with
thin air
some-
thing is real.
yeah.
That less oxygen stuff.
It's
I
not like
was-
that dry heat stuff.
I was with some people who were slightly holier than me, much holier than me. And so at one point we were praying the rosary and I'm like, Hail Mary. Like I couldn't catch my breath. And just think like walking up mountains is hard work.
Yes.
And just imagining this scene in the gospel of Christ being transfigured before these three, like it starts out, it's this little line that we almost just kind of glance over every time we read it. Like he led them up a high mountain,
Hmm.
right? That's the setup. And that's so important for our spiritual understanding of what this feast means for us. Because like it sometimes these high feasts are difficult to preach because everybody knows like the who, like it's very clear, like James, John, Peter, James, John, Jesus, Moses, Elijah.
Mhm.
That's the who. When, well, while Jesus was on earth, right? Sometime before his passion, because he's like foreshadowing that as he talks with the disciples before and after this. The what, well, Jesus is eternal light, like this uncreated light is shining through his human body. So like there's his divinity is shining through, and these three apostles are able to see it. And then he's talking with Moses and Elijah. So it's, sometimes these details just seem kind of dry. But when you think about the why, that's when it really starts to get interesting. Like, why is Jesus doing this? Because it's very intentional. Like, you don't just walk up a mountain by accident. And so the why of what he is doing here is he's bringing these three men who are his closest friends. We see throughout, it's always Peter, James, and John. Peter, James, and John. They get kind of called off or go into these special circumstances. So he's trying to give them a vision of who he is, like the fullness of who he is in his divinity, right? And why is he doing that? Well, he's trying to prepare them for his cross, for his death and his resurrection. But he's also trying to prepare them for their life as apostles after the resurrection, right? Both Peter and James are martyrs, and John is entrusted with taking the Blessed Mother into his home, right? This incredible responsibility. And then the vision of Revelation, right? So they live these lives of great heroic sacrifice and sanctity. And so what Jesus is doing here is showing them what the goal is. Like, our goal is heaven, which is seeing God for who he is face to face for eternity. So he gives them this gift of a few moments, which they can barely handle, right? To prepare them for what's about to happen to him and then what's going to happen to them. Because in order to endure that level of like suffering, confusion, loss, persecution, like, you need to know what's waiting for you at the end of that, right? You need to have a hope that's big enough to get you through those difficulties. And so that's the what that Jesus is doing in the gospel. And so I think the question that I kind of came away from this gospel with is, how do we enter into that? Right? How is it, because it was just Peter, James, and John. And I don't know about you guys and your prayer lives, but I have not seen the uncreated light of God like at any point in my life. So
I've never been put in a spot to build some tents.
Yeah. So how do we enter into this mystery and allow Jesus to give us what he's trying to give to Peter, James, and John? And I think the answer to that is in that first line. Jesus took Peter, James, and John and led them up a high mountain. So like the image of a mountain in the spiritual life is the image of going up a mountain, then coming down a mountain, is this image of meeting with God. And the exertion of going up the mountain represents like spiritual exercises. It represents prayer, like the hard work of prayer. Sometimes we think prayer is just like, I'm going to go and I'm going to feel peaceful. No, like, it's hard work to concentrate, to like lift your mind up to God, to really be open with the Lord. The hard work of fasting, like to say, I'm going to deny myself some of the wonderful things of God's creation in order to make myself more available to him and increase my desire for him. And all of these other spiritual practices, it's to go up this mountain so we can encounter the Lord. And so the how for us that I've been thinking about as I meditate on these readings is, we have to be ready for the challenge of the spiritual life. It's not something that we do of our own power. Like, God gives us the grace. Like, Jesus led them up the mountain, right? He didn't say, go climb the mountain and we'll see if you can prove yourselves. Like, Jesus is with them. He's leading them through this. He's giving them the grace in a sense. But we do have to enter into it. Like there's a sense of the going up the mountain is the purification that Peter, James, and John needed to be able to see this light.
It's interesting. I like obviously a reading that we've heard before, but when I read this reading, I always saw the going up the mountain as a way to like just get to a secluded spot, like to get away to a place where like he could reveal these things, but he was obviously intentional that he didn't want to reveal this to everyone. That like he wanted to do this for the leaders, right, of this group and things. So I guess I've always just seen it as like I never really registered the idea that like the high mountain was significant. It could have just been like to a secluded spot or, you know, out in the desert or wherever it was, that maybe they just happened to be by a mountain when they did it. But yeah.
What does it, I mean, there's the song, but I don't know like the origins, like the Transfigure Us, O Lord song. Familiar with that? Like, what does it mean for us to be transfigured?
So in the Transfiguration, Christ, I'm not familiar with the song.
No,
I don't.
am I making that up?
I'm probably not, but I don't, it's not coming right to my mind.
Well, apparently I thought it was a banger and it's not. So let me Google it. Well, go ahead.
For us to be transfigured. So what's happening when Christ is transfigured is that his divinity is shining through his humanity. So what is the idea, the theological idea of us being transfigured is for us to be transformed and taken up into Christ's divinity, like to enter into the Trinity through our relationship with Jesus Christ. So the fathers of the church had this saying, you know, God became man so that man could become like God. And so a lot of times what our understanding of what God has done in salvation history stops at Jesus became man and dwelt among us, which is absolutely true and the greatest hope that we have of salvation. But he did that not just to condescend, to come down to our level. He did that to lead us up, to take us up into the heights of his divinity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, like the symbolism of the mountain of like going up.
It's from Spirit and Song.
Oh, you probably can't play it for copyright.
Bob Heard.
Oh, it's Bob. I do like Bob Heard.
Banger.
Is it?
I don't know.
I'm not going to play it.
We'd have to play. Yeah.
You just want to listen in one ear and then just sing it for everybody.
Okay.
This is good job. I think you got a good homily here. You should go ahead and
Thanks.
get this together. Yeah. Sorry, you've given me a lot to think about. Yeah.
Here's something to bring us down the mountain a little bit.
I was going to say, like, so the next question that we often go with, Scott's trying to listen to the song. The next question we often go with is like, all right, I'd like this, and this is a lot to think about. How do I explain this to my kids? Like, how do I say to my kids, like, this is why this matters to us, and this is what we're being called to do?
Well, I almost think there's a part of the mystery of the Transfiguration and what we can take away from this gospel that you can learn from children to like embrace again as an adult. Because if you take like a little, at least thinking of myself and knowing the young guys especially, but pretty much any child, if there's something they can climb, they will climb to the top of it. Right. Like I remember falling out of a tree when I was a kid because I was just like climbing up as high as I could.
I'm sure it was not your mother's fault.
It was not my mother's fault at all.
Yeah, I just want to be clear, Mrs. Dufresne.
It was.
I don't know if she watches too, but I'm looking at her.
No, I don't think she knew there was YouTube.
Oh, Mrs. Dufresne, we're also on YouTube.
If you're still awake.
http://youtube.com.
But I don't think we need to teach. I don't think we need to teach kids this. I think they kind of intuit. They see a high place and they're like, I'm going to go up there. And I think what we need to do is relearn that as adults. Like a lot of times in my adult life, I've seen like we could go there, you know, whatever it is. Like I could be I could get better at this hobby or this
Yeah.
pastime, or like our community could grow and we could, but we're
But
like,
getting up there is
"Ah,
hard.
getting up there is going to be hard. What if we just settle for like down here?" Right. And I think what we need to relearn is that desire to go up that mountain, to allow Jesus to lead us up that mountain.
And I think a piece of that too is like embracing, like if you're going to go up there, where it's sort of like you talked about, like falling out of the tree, like it's going to be hard, but like it might also be scary. Like the highest point on earth I've ever been is Mount Evans in Colorado,
Oh,
not far from where you were.
yeah.
You can drive to the top of Mount Evans during the summer.
They're going to say Everest.
No, Evans, not
Mount
Everest.
Everest.
It is the highest like municipal road in the United States.
Hmm.
You can drive all the way up to the top of it. My sister, brother-in-law, and my wife and I, about a year ago right now, we were out in Colorado. We did this drive. It was like a half day trip. It's a long drive. It was one of the scariest things. Like I didn't even drive. I was riding in the passenger seat and I was wetting myself. It was so frightening. These roads are so skinny. People are coming the other direction. You are inches from plummeting thousands of feet. Like that's probably, you're inches from dying for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is scary. And then we got up to the top and I've never seen anything more majestic in my life. I've never like an absolute spiritual experience to be up there, to see this, to be able to just look for miles and miles and miles and see all these different things in all these different directions, and to watch. And like I'm having this experience having ridden in the passenger seat, and there are people like cycling this, like riding up this. So there was a guy I met, amazing guy, Catholic guy, really cool. He rode up and then he rode back down like 2 miles, and then he just rode back up again. And I was like, well, that's rude. Like I'm like out of breath walking from the car to the road, right? Or to the path. Like, and this guy's just riding his bike. But I just remember, like, I don't know, I'm thinking about that as you're talking about this. Like it is harrowing and it's scary. And and I did like the easiest version of this you can do, but worth it. Like, but in the end, that experience and what you see and what you get out of that. And I think it's similar here. You like the view, if we are transfigured and we are, blessed and just honored enough to make it to heaven, then like the view will be way better than any mountain I've ever been on. Right.
Do you know off the top of your head what the next like paragraph of this reading is? Like what happens when they come down from the mountain? Because that's one of the things I kind of think about often, is like going there is part of it, but coming back down and you kind of think of that in like the retreat sense, that like you're on this mountaintop experience, but coming back to everyday life is also hard, and you have to live that now.
Yeah. I don't have the next verses memorized off the top of my head.
I'm not memorized, but like I'm trying to think. Do they? Anyways, so second question. You mentioned at the beginning of this that this is one of your favorite gospel readings. Why?
Favorite feasts.
Feasts. Yeah. Okay.
So there's just so much about the Transfiguration that there's the going up the mountain, but it's also so traditionally the mountain that Jesus led them up is Mount Tabor in the Holy Land, right?
Have you been there before?
I've never been to the Holy Land.
You want to? We're going to do a
go.
Holy Land sacrilegious.
When are we going? Sign me up.
I don't know.
All right.
25.
You must have done this many episodes of the podcast in order to go on.
Ooh.
You just tried to get a free trip. What do you?
Huh? No, it's qualified by how many podcasts you do.
Yeah.
No, but we're not paying for you to go.
I know.
I just want to be clear.
So
Maybe
moving
Scott
on.
will, I don't know.
If you can bring 10 people with,
Yeah, if you can find 30 other people to attend.
I'm pretty sure that if you buy 10, you get one free.
Yeah.
But we'll do 2 tracks. Sorry.
We'll talk about this later.
It's extra if you want a single room.
So with the Transfiguration, there's the idea of the mountain, but the Mount Tabor is traditionally the site of the Transfiguration. And you know what they call, have you been to adoration where they've used like the stand for the monstrance?
Yes.
On the altar? You know what that's called?
Yeah.
It's called
Tabor.
It's called a tabor.
Of course it is.
And so this is,
No kidding.
yeah. So this is a reminder for us of just, that the how, like, yes, there's the spiritual life. I mean, if if you're not striving for a pure heart, if you're not striving to lift your mind up to God in prayer, it's going to be very, very difficult to see all the ways that God is acting in your life, right? But like a very simple way, like if somebody wanted to know, how can I experience the transfiguration today? Like right now, as I finish listening to this podcast, it's like go to adoration, go to mass, like look at Jesus present in the Eucharist. And that's, I mean, do that for an hour. That's like walking up a mountain.
Yeah. And that's a way easier mountain to climb, but you get the reward. That's awesome.
All right. Dumb questions.
Yeah. Dumb questions. All right. Father, I've been asking this of
Boy.
yes. So I'm going to ask you the same. If you were not a diocesan priest, you were a religious priest, and said you were a member of a religious order, what order do you think you would, what type of religious would you be?
Do you have a guess?
Huh?
Let's all write it down.
Ooh.
Can I write down my guess?
Well, you have to tell us. But yeah.
Forget the name. Need to look it up. But this is great podcasting. This is silence.
I don't know. So I can
Can
tell
I
you
ask
now?
you, wait, while you're thinking and we're looking this up, I'll ask another dumb question.
Okay.
You just talked about a tabor. Sorry, I can't do both. Is a tabor, like a lot of times I know that like people just like, do you go shopping for a tabor, or like they make specific stands for it, or is like the box that you put like a nice cloth over, is that a tabor?
I've seen both. Like some places they'll use a missal stand and put like a corporal over it. Some places, like at St. Meinrad, we had a specific tabor that was actually made. So it's kind of both.
It's like reversible.
Yeah. A lot of tabernacles are made so that you can put a monstrance on top of them. Things like that.
All right.
So that's a tough question. I did not seriously discern with any religious communities before becoming a diocesan priest. God was very, very particular when he called me. It was, I want you to be my priest, and I want you to be my priest in Indianapolis as a diocesan priest.
Thank you, God.
That was the call. So, which, I was not originally from Indianapolis. So that was
no kidding.
a little atypical. No, I'm from the Cincinnati, Dayton area. So,
had you had an Indianapolis experience before, or there?
Yeah, I was here for college.
Okay.
So I kind of put
The
down
Marian
roots.
University.
I put down roots while I was at Marian College, which then became Marian University.
Got it.
So, but if I had to say something right now, like I'm very monastically inclined. Like I really,
Yeah, I thought you might have a good answer for this.
I always wanted to be a monk. Like I kept waiting for Jesus to call me to religious life, and he just never did. So one of the monastic orders, like I have a soft spot for the Benedictines. So
like you feel sorry for him.
No. No,
just,
like
just for Father
like
Christian.
the rule.
You just feel, do you feel sorry because they all have to deal with Father Christian, or do you feel sorry for Father Christian?
No, I love Father Christian.
I do too.
Yeah.
So I
We'll
haven't
hear
seen
from
Father
him
Christian
about
for a
this.
while. I hope I get to see him soon. So the rule of Saint Benedict is very attractive to me. So I would be drawn to the Benedictines. But I haven't thought about that in a long time.
What was your guess?
Was it called Regnum Christi?
Oh, like the Legionnaires.
Yeah. You got that
Is it
haircut.
just because of the haircut?
Yep.
I was thinking,
I hope.
and I couldn't find the name of them, but the guys who wear the all white and have the big wide brimmed hats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
The Norbertines.
Yeah, Norbertines. There you go.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
They're another monastic order that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think that's his vibe.
I really hope.
I've only met a few Norbertines, but like I feel like you'd really get along with them.
Your comment is going to make a nun very, very happy.
Yes, I love making that.
Because I have a nun friend that makes fun of me because I look like a legionnaire. And I don't know why she thinks that's funny, but I didn't know that there were religious orders that had like a specific haircut. So
I want to interview one of those guys and find out if there's like a general instruction of the haircut.
General
idea.
instruction of the- What is it? Haircut day in training for the Legionnaires? Have you
They
ever
do.
heard Scott talk about how he's convinced that everything priests learn, there's just like a day for it? There's like liturgical color investment.
Most of the time, there's
Yeah.
no day.
Like,
Yeah.
there's just one day. That's the day. Like,
Reconciliation Day. you'll have
yeah.
the
It's just like you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say about the Legionnaires. The book that I use most to prepare my homilies was written by a member of the Legionnaires.
it's like a commentary or like a
Yeah, it's called, well, I'm not going to tell you what it is because you won't need me. No, it's called
trade secrets.
it's called The Better Part.
Hmm.
So it's Father John Bartunek, I think. So
I thought maybe that was the story of the haircut. The part. The part. I knew you. I
wow.
almost spit my drink out there. I
Wow.
can't believe you weren't on that.
Wow. There's an affiliate link in the description.
Yeah, it's just a map and a description of how to get your haircut.
Oh my gosh.
The hype
Oh,
made with
man,
that
I walked
part.
right into that. That's really what the book's called. Was not a dad joke.
Do you have any dumb questions for us? I did just tell you right before was it during the podcast? Maybe
don't know.
right before we
It
started.
was right before we started.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sacrilegious sock?
Oh,
I have a new one.
I was gonna say, can you want to guess mine and I'll guess yours?
Sure.
Scott's is the Pope Mobile sock.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yours is the Our Lady of Guadalupe no-show socks.
That's true. I do
Nice.
love Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the no-shows, that's what I wear all the time and I love them. But then I just adore Our Lady of Guadalupe. And so and I can combo those two things up, man.
She's pretty
That'll be it.
awesome.
We're gonna combo up the pilgrimage, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and then we're gonna go
Holy
to the
Land.
Holy Land.
There we go.
Yeah.
Gonna rack up some sky miles.
It is on like a short short list bucket list for me is doing an Our Lady of Guadalupe pilgrimage. I would very much like to go to there. You should definitely go with me on that one.
Yeah.
Though-
Translate and like talk and stuff. And
The one that Elizabeth and I went to was like a weekend thing. Like
Yeah.
we left Friday
Yep.
morning, got back Monday, I think. It was awesome.
I want to do that.
It's a
I want
beautiful
to
place.
get on the conveyor belt.
I-
See Our Lady.
Did it a few times.
You rode it a couple times.
Oh yeah, just circles.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Our guide told us to go 7 times, and he was like, "Go as many times as you want." And there was something to meditate on.
For anyone
Seven.
listening who thinks that we're making a joke here, we're not. There's a conveyor belt that runs across the front of Our Lady, correct?
It's like in an airport.
Yeah.
It's like a moving
where-
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just kneel on it?
You know, you just,
Some people do.
Yeah.
you don't have to. You just go like that.
Just walk against traffic.
You just stand and then like
Yeah.
That's awesome.
the idea is that like if they didn't have that, people would just
Be there forever.
Yeah.
I would. It would be me. I would just very much like, yeah. Anyway,
it's one of the great innovations of the church.
moving sidewalks. Any other dumb questions for us?
I
As dads,
I will.
Fathers,
I need to prepare more for next time.
husbands? Yeah,
Think of
sorry.
some dumb
Next time.
questions.
All right. Thank you, Father
Oh,
Dufresne.
I had one more. Sorry,
okay.
my other
Sorry,
one.
sorry.
You mentioned you were reminiscing on your summer as a transitional deacon. You were like, that was a great summer. Why was that a great summer?
Well, Monsignor Schwarzkopf is amazing.
The goat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he loves to golf and I love to golf.
Mhm.
So
He does
played
like
a lot of golf, and he's such a merciful man on the golf course. Like every time I would hit a terrible shot, like before I could even turn around, he would toss a golf ball up onto the tee box and just say like, hit till you're happy. And it was awesome.
that.
Um,
That's what I need in my life.
So I had a blast there.
My friends, they say different things to me when I tee off poorly.
I just said cart buddy.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. This was a joy.